Hi, I'm Aaron from The Stuff, and this is the review for Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. I'm actually going to make a review for Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, because they really should be played as a single entity. And you'll notice that first in Phantom Pain when they give you the option to download your previous save data from Ground Zeroes. Now, I'm going to get out the one big issue I have with the game right off the bat, and it's the same issue that a number of other people have had from day one with this game, and that is that Hideo Kojima and Konami replaced David Hayter as the voice of Solid Snake. Well, in this particular case, Naked Snake, Punished Snake, whatever you want to call him, he was replaced, and that never really sat well with me. I love Kiefer Sutherland. He's a great, great actor, and I definitely get Kojima's rationale behind replacing him. But David Hayter was Metal Gear Solid for me for a long time. As a matter of fact, we wouldn't have the remake of 1 on the GameCube had he not slashed his salary to bring back all the original voice actors that he could get. So to replace him this late in the game, in the final master stroke of the franchise, in the twilight of it, and say, you're not welcome here anymore, felt a little bit lame. And that's my one big gripe with the game. Apparently, even the building I'm in agrees with me. The game itself, from beginning to end, is something magical to me, in that I have been playing Metal Gear games since I was very young. I started with the Nintendo games and came to here, and in that vein I will actually be posting a full review later, not just for Metal Gear Solid 5, but for the entire franchise, from Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater all the way up through Rising Revengeance. With that in mind, it'll be chronological of course, but with that in mind, I have to say that the graphics on this game are absolutely mind-blowing. Way more than I was expecting out of a Metal Gear game. Not that Metal Gear's ever been a slouch in the graphics department, but I certainly wasn't expecting the visual aesthetics to be nearly as amazing as they were. Every area I went into, the effects of the sand, everything like that, blowing in my character's face, the way that my character would get progressively dirtier as he would go around, getting bloodier, things like that, you know, I really enjoyed it. I will say that the game does punish you for not paying attention to the scenery. You know, not finding this herb, not finding these animals, not seeing that one guy over there, it will punish you. And I like that too. It's a stealth game, you should be punished for lack of care.
Oh yeah.
Overall, with the graphics aesthetics, I would definitely give it a 4.5 out of 5. Wonderful graphics. There was a few things I would change personally, just down to the way that the grass behaves and interacts with you. But aside from, you know, small little nitpicky issues, I don't have a big problem with it. So 4.5. Moving from there is going to be, at the very least, the gameplay of it.
Oh really?
The gameplay is my favorite in the Metal Gear franchise, and that says a lot because I've always been a very steadfast fan of the original Metal Gear Solid, back on the PS1, and then of course Twin Snakes on the GameCube, and I love the original controls, and but I also love to see how they've evolved from, you know, Metal Gear on the GameCube to the top-down game for, you know, PlayStation, and all the way through the PSP and the PS3 and now to the PS4 and Xbox One. It's been a journey, and the gameplay has progressed equal parts to the generation of console it's been on, and I think that's impressive to see it continuously take the step up. You know, every platform it's been on has had a better control scheme than the last, at least in my opinion, and I really enjoy it. Overall, in gameplay, the fun value of it, how much time I enjoy spending on it, the side missions that are even super enjoyable. You know, for me, it's a 5 out of 5. I don't have any issues with the gameplay in it. A lot of people I've talked to had issues with the inventory system. I didn't. I will say I miss being able to cycle through everything pretty quickly with the shoulder buttons, but I still feel it's very fluid and very good, and you can tell how much time they put into polishing the controls. So yeah, gameplay for me is a 5 out of 5. Production value is my number 3 there. You can't even argue it. Production value is a 5 out of 5. They put their everything into this game. I think Kojima might have known this would be his last game as part of Konami, and so he dumped his soul into it. Absolutely dumped his soul into it. It is something amazing to watch. You can't really argue the production value they put into it. I know I can't stop saying that enough. Man, it was great. The cinematics, the way that they did everything, down to the guns, the silencers, even in Ground Zeroes, which was just that little wetting your palate going into it. Blew my mind. Following up on that though, what you come down to is with that 5 out of 5 comes down to the story, and the story is the make or break of a game for me. It doesn't matter to me how beautiful your game is. If your game doesn't have a cohesive, wonderful story, you're not getting me into it. I'll have to get myself into it. Dead Island is a great example. The story for Dead Island was terrible. I had to make a storyline for myself in order to get myself into it. Metal Gear does not suffer from that deficit. Metal Gear, in my opinion, has the single greatest storyline told across any number of games in the history of video gaming. Final Fantasy can eat its heart out. They tell a continuous story over the course of maybe 3 games tops in their franchise. This has been continuous, since the beginning. And to see where everything led and where everything that came from, all the mission questions answered, from the mysteries of certain characters. And I'm not going to give any spoilers here because I want everyone to get a chance to play it before I reveal, the spoilers and everything in my full-on review of the franchise as a whole. But I will say this, I have never enjoyed a story like I've enjoyed Metal Gear. And 5 is no different. As I've explained on the podcast about our favorite video games, Metal Gear Solid's always been my favorite. And this raises the bar. Without Kojima, I do not know how they will possibly top this as a game. So yeah, as far as storyline goes, it's a 5 out of 5. To bring everything together, this game to me is as close to a perfect score as I think I'll ever get. Mike said before, I'm nitpicky, I'm argumentative about games, but this one is as close to perfect as it'll get for me. And I will say, from the characterizations to the voice acting, even Kiefer Sutherland, I thought the subtle way that he did all his dialogue was very, very impressive. So from point A to point B to point Z, this game was a perfect game to me. And I have no problems with it. Outside of the, come on guys, some DLC. Some David Hayter DLC. That's all I'm asking for. Just a little bit. I mean, I can't really plead to Kojima, he's not there, but Konami, you want to do it. Come on, give it up for Big Hate. Anyhow, this was Aaron with your brief review of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. And Ground Zeroes.